purpose of the call is just to like learn about like your experience with joining the program, like where you were before and how it helped you get to where you are now. Um, so firstly, why did you join? Why did
Oh,
you click the ad and then decide to join?
that's a big question, a massive one. So we had the one property we were living in, and we were trying to develop another, delayed by COVID. And let's get educated on how to do developments. I did a whole bunch of courses, and then when we're ready to do the developments, we realized, man, this needs a lot of cash. Just kept bumping into oh, you need a lot of down payment, you need a lot of down payment.
Mm,
So when your ad came up and I looked at it and I was thinking, oh wait, this sounds like a cash flow type business, which I sort of like real estate. Then decided, yeah, this is a good thing to do because it'll give us the cash flow.
yeah,
Sorry, that
that's
cash
me.
flow. Sorry, that cash flow will allow us to hopefully borrow more, get access to more capital, cash, or just build, chunks of cash as we grow. That's what kind of resonated with me. And I already had one house anyway that I was kind of like, oh, we've got rooms that are free. We'll try to check them on Airbnb and see how it goes.
Okay, so just to understand, so you had a job
I still
and
have a job.
you still have a job?
Yep.
Okay. And you were living in a place that you rented or owned?
No, owned it, built it, lived in it for 8 years. Yeah. So yeah, that's where we're at. I had the
Okay.
job. I'm thinking, yeah, eventually we're going to transition into real estate full time. It's in some shape or form.
Okay, so
Um,
you're purposely keeping the job even though you kind of don't need it just for the serviceability?
well, that's the interesting bit. So when I started doing the BNB, and your course was kind of teaching like the difference between apartments and houses, we realized, okay, we can move to apartments and do that, but the cash we're getting was good, but to save deposits to actually borrow to buy apartments, we realized we need the job for serviceability in the way banks calculate things here.
Yeah.
Um, it's not like you can save up 100% of the value of the property just from BNB cash.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
with two to
So
four.
so you don't need to keep your job, but you're only keeping it so that you can have serviceability so that you can get loans to buy properties and do developments and so on?
That is a tough question. If you ask me, I'll say I still want my job. I still need my job,
Right.
like ad hoc life things. But because the BNB business model, a lot of life expenses can be expensed in the business.
Yeah.
I don't. I could, if I lost my job today, I could find myself with like 70% of that covered that way. If that makes sense.
From what?
Just like the BNB way we live right now. So like we just stay in different BNBs when they're free.
Mm.
Um, and a lot of their supplies that we buy are kind of like consumables for life anyway. So the model works well in reducing our living expenses. So like my car's paid off. The only thing we have to worry about, well, we've put tenants now in that other house, and the second house development is finished. We're putting tenants in there. So once that house is tenanted, it kind of pays for the mortgages. And it means at that point, potentially, yeah, I don't want to say I don't need a job, but I don't rely on the job income as much
Okay.
because the properties you pay for themselves are the biggest
So
role.
so in summary, you you've got a job, you saw an ad, you joined because you wanted some more cash flow on top of your job because you weren't saving enough deposits fast enough to fund developments of properties you already own and to buy more properties. Is that
Yeah, and
is that right?
yeah, yep, and yeah, in a short form, if you were to summarize it, yeah, 100%.
Okay. All right,
And in the
cool.
process, we replace my job, then happy days as well, right? Like
Yeah,
for sure.
okay. Um, I remember you saying your goal was to have enough properties for your partner to be able to manage them full time. Was that right?
So that then because like I said, my main focus is the development. and the renovations. But the B&B business is effectively what will keep us living while we're doing all of that. So getting
Okay.
her off the job and managing on the B&Bs would be good, because then I can focus on the big stuff, the development, and some of them will be able to keep and turn them into B&Bs as well. So it's kind of like, oh, it goes full circle, but someone has to focus on the big stuff
Yeah.
to, yeah, to have.
Okay. So you would get your partner to quit her job before you quit your job?
She has the smaller income. I go back and forth is the answer. I would quit my job, because then I can do more damage. Like, I understand how to run the business end to
Mm.
end and chase the development deals. Um, Sometimes I'm like, if she quits, she's almost like my admin person anyway
Yeah.
today. So
Yeah.
then we'll just get more organized and get more done that way. But like, we wouldn't be finding new deals, wouldn't be negotiating new deals. Is the difference between
Okay.
like me and her quitting. So
So, and what is you don't have to be too specific, but like, what do you do for work now?
I used to be a software engineer. So, and then became like a team leader there, and then I changed to be a software tester, and now I'm a team leader of software testers.
Okay.
Um, it's
And you
not
work
really
like 40 hours a week, like, and that's the limit, or do you work sometimes 50, 60 hours?
cap it at 40. I picked a company that's got good work-life balance, so we cap it at 40, and
Nice.
that's how people do the other businesses on the side anymore would be, yeah, chaos.
Right, okay. And then, so you've been working that job since before you saw my ad and then up until now. So when do you usually get the work done in terms of like building your business to what it is
In,
now, which we'll talk
in,
about later?
in and around the job. So yeah, sort of in parallel, sometimes after hours. So they're quite flexible. If I have to go to an inspection, I just tell them, hey, I've got a private appointment, and I go, I'll be back after an hour.
Yeah,
Um, because that's what my colleagues do also when they've got like kids, school pickup and that sort of thing. So we just, yeah, use it in that way. I've got no kids, which kind of helps.
yeah,
And then at night I'll do some things, but not a lot. I try to keep it between sort of like those daytime hours. So yeah, just so I'm not burning myself out as well, right?
yeah. Okay, cool. Um, okay, so you joined the program not because you were like feeling stuck in your job or overworked and you need to escape it, more just like logically, just like I need more money to fund developments. Or did you have any of that sort of stuff like I'm working too much, I hate my job, I want to escape that? Or is it the motivation more just like a long-term plan of just I need more money now to fund buying more apartments and developments?
Definitely that's priority one. I need to get more money to fund more of what I actually really love doing, which is the developments and buying more of a portfolio, whether it's a BNB or just a regular house. Um, but then when you start making that kind of money with three BNBs, you gotta go, oh holy crap, my day job is shit ROI.
Mm,
And like now, because I was sick, I've used up all my annual leave and my sick leave. So I have to go back and borrow more
right.
leave, which, when I'm working on my business, there's no one else to ask. It's my time. I choose to do what I do, sort of thing. Like, it's
Yeah.
quite different. It's very, very different.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And so could you remind me when you joined the program and then how soon did you get your first Airbnb like set of keys?
So I joined the program right before I was going on my long service leave. That would have been like in June last year, potentially. Um, and then that meant when I went on long service leave, which has probably made things worse, is obviously I now had 24 hours to do whatever I wanted. So I sort of hit the ground running, and we had already a trip booked to go see family for about 3 weeks or so. 2 weeks, 2 weeks. But we had landed a place before we left, and we couldn't quite turn it into a B&B because we are going to be away for 2 weeks. So we sort of got it. We put some roomies in there. We flew out, went to South Korea, where my partner's from, did the 2 week holiday, and then came back after we left it all furnished and everything. But then when we got back, the room is already comfortable, and I was like, shit, we can't kick them out. So we started the process of finding the next one, and then yeah, that one we probably got 2 weeks later and went live with that. For 3 weeks later. Yeah.
Okay. So, time between joining the program and time between getting that one was roughly how long?
10 months.
1 month?
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Nice. Um, okay.
Month or two.
And what did you think about Airbnb before joining? Like, did you think it seemed unrealistic or risky or too much work or anything?
No, I just didn't. I'd never thought of it up until you spoke about it. I'd never thought of it as like a business use scale. Like I'd always seen it as people put their extra room on Airbnb.
Yeah.
Thought of it as like, no, you can get like quite a lot of units. You don't actually have to buy them as well. Like
Mm,
that opening. Yeah, so my thought of it was just like, oh, it's something people just do. Just they have a property that's spare that they've already bought. They chuck it on there, or they and they chuck it on Airbnb.
yeah. Okay. Oh, and how many places have you gotten since you got that first one after 1 month? Or how many sets of keys to
Got
summarize?
two after that, so we ended up with like four.
Yep.
We ran for a good period of time, and then we shut the one down that wasn't quite, the South Bank one that wasn't quite giving us the numbers that we wanted with Body Corp chucking in all those fines randomly, just for like
Mm,
guests, random things everywhere. Um, but yeah, we've gotten up to 4 units, and then obviously because we had houses and the houses coming online, we put the house on, which also became like the fourth, and that was cool to experiment with as well. Um, yeah, even though for Melbourne in winter, whether it's house or apartment, you start having to put tenants in them, not the top performing ones.
yeah. Okay.
I'll tell
So
you,
four listings in total, basically. Well, plus the one you got and got rid of.
yeah, yeah. Well, that would have been fifth, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Um, okay, so you didn't go through like some kind of mindset shift or anything like that. You were just like, all right, I didn't know that that was possible to scale Airbnb. I believe James. Makes sense. I'm just gonna join and do it, and you just did it. Because
Yeah, well,
because many
go
people
for it.
join and like, oh, I'm not sure if it's good, or and then they go through like a mindset shift, and then they're like, oh wow, it actually worked out. But you didn't seem to like go through any of these things. You just seem to be like a very logical guy.
Yeah, it was like
Yeah.
just like, oh, okay, the numbers. Maybe because I was already trying to do other real estate models.
Yeah.
When
Right.
and you're like, oh, you can get this many, and that many can make you this much from like just renting or renting. The
Yeah.
numbers just clicked with me. I was like, oh yeah, that's the lowest capital investment with quite good return pretty fast.
Mm,
So it was just like, yeah, I'm stepping on the gas to do this ASAP
yeah.
and seeing
Okay.
how fast we can go.
Nice. Um, so why did you choose Airbnb? Like, were you considering something else at the time, like to make extra money, or
Uh
you didn't
yeah,
have
yeah.
any options?
No, so I did consider sort of like the renovations rather than development. So you can do one of those in 3 months and like, turn a chunk of money in it. But again, it had the same problem. You have to cough up a lot of cash originally.
Mm,
You have to find a lot of people to invest in it with chunks of money. But then you're taking on quite a lot of unknowns when you're renovating a house because you pull a wall down and you find out that that blows out, right? Like it was a
right.
lot. Whereas Airbnb was kind of like get a place, buy furniture, which I already do anyway. Uh, Take pictures, which I have a marketing background and IT. Make it look pretty, post it up, and wait for people to start booking. Like it was more low risk compared to the other, and low capital intensive compared to the other options
Yeah.
there.
Okay. Um, what were you surprised most about the process or how it's gone?
How much I needed to delegate fast because the more I added, the more time it took, and the
Yeah.
more interactions, with guests and that sort of thing.
Mm,
Uh, yeah, that I really had to get on top of that because with the other models, you don't really need a team per se. You could, but when you're renovating, really, it's you and you hire the trade and they come in. When you're developing, you get a builder. and you pay the money deposit, and then off they go. They go build it for 9 to 12 months, like sort of
Mm.
thing. But with Airbnb, you really need to get good at the. Oh, you need a runner. You need this, which is good. And having gotten that now from Airbnb, it actually helps the other things that I do. So, which is cool.
Okay, nice. So that was the only other option that you had, like that you could consider yourself actually doing, like basically flipping apartments. Is that what you mean?
Apartments, houses, townhouses, the whole nine. Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
no other business models were on your radar when you decided to do this one.
Now, my missus talked about digital marketing. I just didn't think there's enough money in it. I think you'd be chasing peanuts. No offense to anyone who does digital marketing. Uh, it just didn't look like it moved the needle. There was a buyer's agent thing, but I felt like you just have to kiss a lot of frogs
Yeah.
before a deal and you make 20K. Whereas
Mm.
like, yeah, Airbnb felt like you set up a system and you just keep the system going and the system makes money. Like it was
Yeah.
straightforward.
Yeah, that's true. All
But
right.
nothing,
So, sorry, go on.
no, nothing else other than everything else was too big. It was like big rocks. It was too like you already needed to have money. And at that point, yeah, you are kind of in a different, yeah, kettle of problems. I feel.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I notice a lot of people, when they start the Airbnb business, it's like a beginner mistake. Like they don't outsource it and they go and do everything themselves when they could just pay someone to do that stuff for them.
Mm.
Um, so you did that pretty quickly. Like after a couple of months, you were like, I gotta learn to outsource this.
The cleaning was the first one.
Oh, you were
Yeah,
cleaning yourself. Yeah, right.
yeah. I'm not passionate about cleaning either, right? Like, I mean, I'll clean the way I use my dishes and what have you,
Yeah.
but bathrooms and whatnot, I'm like, oh my God. So that one was quick. And then once I got my time back from the cleaning, it was like, clicked. It was like, oh, then I have to delegate as much as I can with everything else as well. The VA, I just didn't have enough income from the properties portfolio to be like, okay, I'll be confident to now hire a VA and hand over that to someone.
Yeah. Like
But
you don't have a VA yet, right?
I don't, but that's
Yeah.
just, because there's two of us, between the two of us, we just work as
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
um,
my dad has like three properties and him and his wife, they like that
yeah,
just 20 minutes a day, I think he said.
yeah,
But just to
it's
be
fine.
clear to anyone watching, you don't need to like clean properties when you start. We recommend starting with a cleaning company. I think you just did it to get the cleaning for yourself, just to make extra money, get extra work. Right.
Yeah, it's fine. And in winter, because Melbourne's a slump in winter,
Mm.
I just I capture every dollar, like, just to get to spring.
Yeah.
But recommend it for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So could you share like what is your what was your record month like around say Australian Open Grand Prix, for example?
Summer kept breaking the record. Each month I thought I had a good month record wise. Another would outdo it. I think March ended up being the king of the hill. Just checking. March,
Yeah.
which is surprising because in Melbourne, January has everything. It has Australian Open, it has like 3 or 4 international events, and I thought that was going to be the one. It also has New Year's Day. I thought that was the one that was going to kill it. It's got the second highest income, but March ended up being it for some reason.
And how much did you make in March, like net profit?
20 grand.
20 grand. Nice.
Yeah.
From the
Oh
four
no, you
Airbnbs.
mean net profit. I have to sit down and actually work it out because it's
Okay.
just been everything. But gross, that was 20 grand.
Okay. Nice. Um, okay. And what part of working with us was most impactful? Like, was it the clarity of the course, step-by-step structure, or the live calls every week? Yeah, like
Yeah.
what helped most as opposed to just going and trying to figure it out yourself, which I'm sure you could do since you've already done a bit of property development stuff.
Nah, I wouldn't have, not to the degree. I think the knowledge in the course was gold. Like it just fast tracked even if like with everything I knew about property, it would have taken me forever to get to operating in that manner. And then getting the support as I was setting them up and running them and getting into issues. Those are the top two for sure.
Okay.
Like was invaluable.
Why do you think it would take you so long to do it yourself?
Because there's unlike the other, I mean, the other property models like flipping and developments, you're not really running a business the way Airbnb is running it, like you run an Airbnb business. I'd almost put it like almost running a restaurant or anything. The skills you gain, I feel like gain from running an Airbnb business, I can go run any other business.
Right.
Yeah, because you
True.
really have what about operations, people, delegation, training, customer service. Like you think about the whole business, marketing, the whole nine.
Yeah.
Whereas the other ones, you find a project property, you go do what you do in one company, money comes out, you shut it down, you go again. Like you can do that with 2, 3 people.
Mm.
It's just the cash that's the thing that holds you back. But I wouldn't say if you do flipping and property development, you become a better business person or a person that runs a business better. Say that.
Yeah, because you're just kind of like moving money around and planning what the money's going to be used for. But yeah, you don't have to micromanage people or set up systems or anything like that.
Yeah, maybe flipping, you might set up some systems, but not to the level in Airbnb that you set up.
Yeah. Okay. Um, okay, so looking back on the journey, would you do it again without hesitation?
Yeah, sure.
Okay,
Yeah,
nice. Do you wish you found us earlier?
yeah. Yes, of course. 100%. I wish I'd known earlier. I wish I'd jumped into it earlier. I wish because like how can I explain? Uh, it's not like I didn't know Airbnb. It's not like we'd never booked Airbnb.
Mm,
Probably thought of them as like, oh, we're consumers of the product. But if
right,
we'd known how easy it is to make money from it, I probably wouldn't be in my day job if I started.
right. That's true. Yeah. What advice would you give to someone in the position you were in like 1 year ago? Or what to yourself, to Tawanda like 1 year ago, what advice would you give to yourself?
I mean, it seemed like a lot of money to pay for the course, but it's definitely worth it. Uh, yeah, and probably delegate sooner, like just pay people to do what they need to do sooner.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, to save yourself time.
Yep.
Because I guess you were like wondering if it's worth joining, right? For a bit. Like you weren't just like, yeah, I'll just do it straight away. You obviously had to think about it.
Yeah, yeah, because I'm like, okay, this is the money that I have that I could do a flip or I could try and do a construction. So I was like, I got one bullet in the gun. Like, is this the
Yeah.
thing to that sort of thing? So yeah, I think before, if you listen back to your calls before joining, I was like, are you sure? And like, this will give me the results that I'm after. So I think,
Right, right. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's the thing. It's like you have to do the work to get the results. Like we are sure if you do the work,
yeah,
but
yeah.
we're not sure if you're not going to do the work. So, but you did
No,
the
I was,
work, so it works. That's it. As simple as that. That's good. All right. So, what are your new goals now that you have traction? Like, do you have any plans to scale, expand, or just explore new ventures? Are you still just looking at this like a medium-sized Airbnb business as a means to an end of like ultimately doing only renovations, or are you just going to do a symbiotic relationship of cash flow and then generating property equity?
I am, I've changed my whole perception. So initially, I used to look at apartments as like, these are the things in real estate you never touch, you never buy, you never own because they're just like they're money pits or a lifestyle product. But now the Airbnb has made me change my perception of that. So my whole strategy has changed in that I'll do the chunk projects to get chunk of money and I'll partner with Airbnbs for consistent cash flow. So like just
Yeah,
uh, I like my money like royalties. If I pluck it in an Airbnb, it's like I've made a song and that song's gonna just keep making me money till I like it, as long as I keep obviously the right and everything and all that. So they're not, I definitely intend to scale, but I just want to get a chunk of money so I can get a lot, because I feel like the effect works a lot better when you have more.
Yeah, yeah. Like the what are they called? Systems of scale, economies of scale. Yeah. Um, so you are now subscribed. Like you used to be, think that houses were the only thing that you should buy in real estate as investments, and now you're like realizing that Airbnb unlocks apartments to be actually better than houses if you do it right.
Right.
Yeah,
So if apartments,
nice.
right, it give you a better result than houses. So like we had a plan where we had like, if we get 5 to 10 properties in 20 years, by the time we retire, that's 25 grand a week, right? Potentially, passively or whatever. And
What, like
when
10 luxury houses getting
not
2,500 a week or what?
not just median houses, just giving you rents from like putting a tenant in it, and but then you to acquire those 10, 15 would take you like 15 years because you can only buy one.
25 grand a week or 25 grand a month?
25 grand a week. I mean, like realistically, you probably end up at like 25 grand a month if you don't pay the debt. But if you pay, then the idea was you then sell like a portion of them to pay down the
So your
debt.
goal was to have 10 houses generating 2,500 per week each for a total of 25K. Okay.
Right. But then that would take me 10, 15 years to achieve. Whereas in the BNB space, if I do a lot of arbitrage deals, a mix of everything from less money, I can hit that money, that well, weekly, monthly figure faster while I'm still younger, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
change my whole, and I'm like, now, like, okay, I don't want to have 10, 20 houses, but I want to flip a house that gives me 100K, and then I can go get like 5 BNBs, whether it's ready for arbitrage or something.
Okay. Nice.
There's
So do you plan to buy Airbnbs and or like buy properties and put them on Airbnb as well?
Yeah, so I'm in the process of buying my best performing Airbnb unit at the moment.
Are you going to
Uh,
buy it off the landlord?
the landlord. Yeah.
Nice.
Well, that's
Because
how
they
I
have no
structured.
idea how much you make, right? Because they've just been receiving like the rent plus $20 or something.
Eventually, they worked it out because they were like, "Damn, this guy, the rent keeps coming on time," and the unit had been vacant for a long time. So they looked at it, what is he doing? I had explained anyway what I was going to do. Like, I was like, "Oh, I want to buy it. But to buy it, I want to see how it performs for what we need." Um, and
Oh
so now
wait,
they
it
got
was listed for sale and you convinced them to let you rent it and then buy it later maybe. Or
sale and rent. So they had two listings for sale and for rent, and we found both. And then
wow.
they let us rent it, but we also want to buy it. So let us do what we want to see, right? If it works for us, then the next step, which is a buy. So
So did you put it did you say like you want some kind of 1 year settlement or something, or you just trusted that they'd sell it to you after you tested out on Airbnb?
look, I took the risk to say they could sell it to someone else, and that was part of the thing, right? Like it's part of the thing is like the place would look pristine. If they wanted to bring someone in and they liked it and they bought it, so be it. Then I didn't have the cash thing, so I'd just have to negotiate with whoever bought it
Yeah.
to let me continue renting it for like 2 years. And I just do what I do.
Yeah, right.
Sorry, it's easier because you're already the tenant thing, I suppose. I thought it would be easier to negotiate with them. But
Mm.
I built the relationship that kind of say with the landlord slowly to go like, look, I really want to buy it. I really,
Yeah,
and
I see.
so yeah, eventually we signed a contract of sale and we're in the process of trying to buy it. But yeah, there's a lot of moving parts to get the money across
Yeah.
this. But yeah,
Okay.
that works. I like it a lot. So we might even live in it down the track like years later. So
Okay, nice. Um, so basically your definition or goal of success of 25K a week, it hasn't changed, just the method that you plan to get there has changed.
percent, I don't need to hold 10, 15 houses to do that anymore. Which costs more compared to apartments, by the way. So yeah,
Like the
the the original plan, which was buy 10, 15 houses. Uh, yeah,
Like
the
your net
cost.
worth would have to be like 20 million or something to have 10 houses that are pulling in 25K a week.
Yeah, and I'd have to keep my day job to have the sensibility to keep doing that, right? To get to that number, like
Yeah.
being able to walk away from my job.
Yeah.
Um, Whereas in the other way, with the BNB way, the paradigm changed, and I could walk away from the job at some point and still have the income from the BNBs because it's supercharged, right? And
Mm.
have it continue to buy the portfolio to get me to that number.
Yeah, it's like you use properties to work for you to get to the same outcome rather than you working for the properties. And that's what everyone's been doing in the last 50 years, I guess. Like they just keep working their job to buy houses because the houses outperform apartments.
Yeah.
But with Airbnb, they allow you to unlock something that houses have never really been able to do. Well, I mean, they still can't because houses are just more expensive. So the yield
Lower.
is therefore lower. You know, even if it's earning the same revenue, the house costs more, so the yield is actually lower. Yeah,
So but houses also then give you the capital growth, which is why people do the houses,
yeah,
right? Then you hit a serviceability limit because your job is an equation to tapping into that equity. So a lot of people have houses with a lot of equity in it that they can't use today
yeah,
unless
yeah, exactly.
they're back to square one. Like if you sell it, then you're back to square one. So
Yeah, like it's all fine if you can just keep increasing your income by 30% every year, but that's easier said than done.
yeah,
Um,
definitely. Good job.
I mean, yeah, with a job for sure. Yeah, but even with a business. Um, yeah, I've just filmed a video actually, like a 5 minute video, just explaining the difference between. I'm not sure if you can see. You probably can't really see that properly.
I can see.
Basically, it's just like if you imagine like a, a rectangle for apartments, it's like a small amount of capital growth,
Yeah,
conservatively, and a big
yeah,
chunk of yield from Airbnb. Whereas houses, it's like a big chunk of capital growth and like literally minus yield. Like you lose money on the yield compared to the interest rate because the yield, the rent is less than the interest rate. Whereas with apartments, it's gross double the interest rate that you're paying. So yeah, just comparing the net. But basically, it's like the summary is, let's say you get 12% capital growth from a house plus, well, plus nothing from the net profit, right? Like you make a net loss of say 1%. So let's call it a total of like 12% or even be generous and say 14%. Um, and then even if you get like 2% capital growth from apartments, which I don't think will happen because Melbourne, the disparity is the worst it's ever been. It has to catch up somewhat. So 2% capital growth and like 15% gross yield, but 8% net profit, like after paying the mortgage. So you've got, oh, basically like it will work out around the same or maybe more for apartments. But even if I'm completely wrong, and I'm at least get close to the total yield of capital growth plus yields from houses, you can buy twice as many apartments. Like if you use trusts, um, because it helps your servicing rather than dragging you down and making you earn all the money from your job.
yeah. And today being a case example, right? Like I get sick when seasons change, whether we go from hot to cold and cold to hot. And in that scenario we have on the board with the house, because you're negative equity or negative cash flow, right? Your job, you're depending on going back to your job to make sure you can still pay for the gap. Whereas with my BNB portfolio, when I'm sick, the money's just coming in still, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Like
exactly.
that's another thing that's like qualitative that you can't really explain to people with numbers. Like it's like If I'm sick, if I lose my job, the BNB portfolio is still gonna just churn out money.
Mm,
Whereas the house, to hold on to the house to get that capital growth, I need to have a job. Like I can't not have the job. I need a salary to cover the gap and then
right.
expenses.
That's something that no one really talks about too much. So you were sick for multiple weeks and you used
The,
up all of your sick days and service leave.
yeah, like a week had a funny cough that turned into a cold, and it wasn't COVID from the test. But that could be someone, that could be a terminal illness. It could be a one-off thing.
Yeah,
Uh, a child that that's unwell and they have to take time off and what have you. Um, you never know, right? Like life hits you with different things.
mm,
And in that scenario, the house is actually a burden.
true. Like it can, you're the only one keeping the house of cards
Yep.
standing.
Yeah.
If you step away from the bottom, it all falls down.
Yes. Right.
Yeah, right. Um, all right, cool, man. I think that pretty much covers everything. So yeah, we'd love to check back in with you, you know, in 6 months or a year or something if you've or once you keep building to kind of check in with your success story as it evolves.
Yeah. No, I keep planning to keep doing this. And, as per the new model, as you saw, our new strategy. Yeah.
All right, cool, man. Anything else you think we should mention to someone watching?
Wow. So
Sorry.
much. I understand now why your delivery is the way it is. So much happens in a day. There's so much you learn. Like you're stretched and you grow so much in this business that you become a different person in such a short pace of time, space of time, but in a good way.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, the summary is it's all worth it. And then if someone is well, so you would recommend it to someone else, even if they didn't have real estate experience or something?
I would. The only caveat, because obviously some of my friends then noticed and they come and talk to me. One of them's now just giving me a deal, which is amazing. It's gonna be my first deal. Um, but I definitely tell them if you're stepping into it, be very logical about it. Don't be emotional. Um,
Yeah.
and if you've got kids, you have to be more structured and disciplined about it. Like you have to delegate quick, so that you
Yeah,
can't do
yeah.
just you have to work like a team.
Yeah. Otherwise you make the same mistakes, well, that you made at the start and that I made,
Yes.
which is why I made the course to prevent people from making them, yeah. Where you start doing all the work, furnishing and talking to guests and everything. Yeah. All right, cool. Thanks, Tawanda. Appreciate it, man. So
So help.
see you on Monday, I guess, in the live call if you
Will do.
join. All right, cool, man. See you. Have a good night. Bye.
Thank you.